Look closely at the shower drain, and then at your hairbrush. For many women over 50, that moment feels like a quiet shock, because the hair you're seeing isn't just a few strands. It's a message. A warning. A signal your body is changing in ways no one really prepared you for. Your ponytail gets thinner. Your part looks wider. The hairline near the temples seems to retreat. And what makes it even more frustrating is this: you can be doing all the right things, eating salads, drinking water, using expensive products, yet the shedding continues. Here's the truth, explained like a doctor. Hair doesn't fall out because your shampoo failed. Hair falls out because the follicle, your tiny hair factory, stops receiving the signals and raw materials it needs to stay in growth mode. And after 50, the body often shifts in 4 big areas. Hormones change, especially estrogen and progesterone. Thyroid and metabolism slow down. Blood sugar becomes more reactive. And nutrient absorption can decline. Now here's where it gets fascinating. There are 4 nuts that can strongly support the environment for healthier, thicker hair, because they nourish the scalp, protect the follicle, support thyroid function, and calm inflammation. But there's a second half of the story, and it's the part most people miss. There are also 4 healthy habits that look harmless on the surface, but quietly increase shedding. And once you see them, you'll understand why so many women feel trapped, because they're accidentally stepping on the brake while trying to press the gas. Holistic educators like Barbara O'Neill often emphasize this idea. Don't chase symptoms, support the body's foundations. When the foundations improve, the symptom often improves too. So stay with me, because near the end I'll show you a simple, realistic routine to apply this, without extreme diets, without supplements you don't need, and without fear. 2. Topic 1. Why hair thins after 50, the real biology behind it. Let's talk about hair like a medical professional, but in plain English. Your hair grows in cycles. Anagen, the active growth phase, this is where we want your follicles to spend more time. Catagen, the short transition phase. Telogen, the resting phase, this is where hair sheds and waits to restart. After 50, many women experience a shift, more follicles get pushed into telogen, and fewer return quickly to anagen. That's why the hair looks thinner even if you don't see dramatic bald patches. Now, why does this happen? First, hormonal shifts. Estrogen helps keep hair in the growth phase. When estrogen declines, follicles can become more sensitive to inflammatory signals and sometimes to androgens like DHT. This can shrink the follicle over time, meaning hair grows back thinner than before. Second, thyroid strain. The thyroid is like your body's metabolic spark plug. If it's sluggish, sometimes even slightly, hair becomes dry, brittle, and more likely to shed. Many women don't notice thyroid symptoms immediately because they feel like normal aging, fatigue, cold hands, weight changes, brain fog. Third, blood sugar and insulin swings. If your blood sugar spikes often, insulin rises. If insulin rises often, inflammation increases, and stress hormones like cortisol can become more active. That internal stress can signal the body to conserve resources. Hair is not essential for survival, so the body may downgrade hair growth to protect more vital systems. Fourth, nutrient gaps and absorption problems. After 50, stomach acid can be lower, digestion can be slower, and absorption can be weaker, especially for minerals. That matters because your follicle needs building blocks: zinc, selenium, vitamin E, magnesium, protein, and healthy fats. Now picture your hair follicle like a high-performance factory. It needs raw materials, protein plus minerals, a steady power supply, thyroid plus circulation, and a calm working environment, low inflammation plus stable blood sugar. That's why nuts can be so powerful. They are compact, nutrient-dense, and designed by nature to fuel growth. But, this is important, nuts can also backfire when used carelessly. And that's where our quiet hair fall triggers come in. 3. Topic 2, nut number 1, Brazil nuts, thyroid support plus follicle protection. If hair thinning after 50 has a hidden driver, the thyroid often plays a role. Brazil nuts are famous for one reason: selenium, a mineral that supports thyroid function and antioxidant defenses. In your body, selenium helps with processes that protect cells from oxidative stress, basically the rusting effect that damages tissues over time. Your follicles are sensitive to oxidative stress because they're active, growing, dividing, and rebuilding. Here's the simplest way to understand it. If oxidative stress is high, the follicle becomes like a factory working under smoke and heat. Production slows. The hair strand becomes weaker. Shedding increases. Selenium supports the enzymes that help clean up that internal stress, so the follicle can function more normally. Practical, nutritionist-style use. For many adults, 1 Brazil nut per day is plenty. If the nuts are large, even one can be enough. Pair it with breakfast or a snack that includes protein. Now, here comes quiet hair fall trigger number 1. Too many Brazil nuts. This is where natural can become a problem. Selenium is powerful, but more is not always better. Overdoing selenium regularly can backfire on some people, and ironically, excessive selenium over time has been associated with symptoms that can include increased shedding. So the strategy is simple. Use Brazil nuts like a microdose, not like popcorn. Best rhythm for most people: 1 Brazil nut daily, or 2 Brazil nuts a few times per week. And remember, your goal isn't to force growth overnight. Your goal is to improve the follicle environment so growth can return naturally. Open loop. Next, I'll show you a nut that helps the scalp in a different way, not through thyroid support, but by calming inflammation and supporting cell membranes like armor. 4. Topic 3. Nut number 2, walnuts, scalp inflammation calmer plus hair environment builder. Walnuts are one of the best nuts for a plant-based omega-3 fat called ALA. Now, omega-3s are not magic hair pills. But they matter because hair loss after 50 often involves something subtle. A scalp environment that's a little inflamed for a long time. Even mild chronic inflammation can tighten tiny blood vessels, reduce nutrient delivery, and send stress signals to follicles. When follicles feel stress, they shorten the growth phase. That means hair sheds earlier and grows back thinner. Walnuts support cell membrane health. Your follicle cells need healthy membranes to function. Inflammation balance, and overall vascular support. Here's an analogy. Think of your scalp as soil. A healthy scalp is calm, oxygenated soil. An inflamed scalp is irritated soil, tight, dry, and hostile to new growth. Walnuts help improve the soil. Practical ways to eat walnuts. Chop 1 to 2 tablespoons into oatmeal. Add to Greek yogurt with berries. Mix into a salad with olive oil and lemon. Blend into a smoothie, especially with vitamin C-rich fruit to support collagen formation. Now, quiet hair fall trigger number 2. Rancid nuts and overheated nut oils. Walnuts are delicate. If they sit too long at room temperature, the fats can oxidize. Oxidized fats can increase inflammation, exactly what you're trying to reduce. Simple fix. Buy smaller amounts. Store walnuts in the fridge or freezer. If they taste bitter or stale, don't force them. Fresh matters. Because hair growth is not just about eating healthy foods. It's about eating them in a way that keeps inflammation low. Open loop. In the next section, we'll talk about a nut that supports hair texture and scalp circulation, one of the most overlooked anti-aging nutrients for women over 50. 5. Topic 4. Nut number 3. Almonds, vitamin E plus scalp circulation support. Almonds are a practical, consistent choice for women who want to support hair quality. The star nutrient in almonds is vitamin E. Vitamin E helps protect cells from oxidative damage and supports the health of blood vessels. That matters because hair follicles depend on tiny blood flow, microcirculation, to deliver oxygen and nutrients. Here's the doctor-style explanation. When circulation is poor, or when blood vessels are stressed, follicles can receive less nourishment. Over time, the strand becomes weaker and growth becomes slower. Vitamin E supports the protective shield around your cells. It doesn't force your hair to grow like a drug, but it helps create conditions where hair can grow stronger. Practical use. 10 to 15 almonds as a snack. Sprinkle chopped almonds on fruit. Almond butter can work, choose unsweetened and simple ingredients. Now, quiet hair fall trigger number 3. Turning nuts into dessert. Honey roasted almonds. Chocolate covered nuts. Syrupy granola bars. Healthy nut snacks loaded with sugar. This matters because frequent sugar spikes can increase inflammation and stress hormones. For many women, that hormonal stress can increase shedding over time. So if you want almond benefits, choose plain almonds most days. Pair them with protein, like yogurt, to keep blood sugar steadier. Here's a simple rule. Stable blood sugar supports stable follicles. And now we're ready for the 4th nut, one that brings a mineral duo many women are missing after 50. 6. Topic 5. Nut number 4, cashews, zinc plus copper for stronger growth signals. If your hair is thinning, think beyond vitamins. 2 minerals matter more than most people realize. Zinc. Copper. Zinc is essential for tissue repair, immune balance, and protein processes. Hair follicles are constantly building. Zinc supports that building process. Copper supports enzymes involved in connective tissue structure and cellular function. It also plays a role in melanin-related processes, one reason copper is often discussed in relation to hair pigmentation biology, not as a promise, but as part of the broader picture. Cashews contain both zinc and copper in meaningful amounts, making them a useful nut for follicle support. Practical use. A small handful as a snack. Add to a savory bowl with vegetables and protein. Blend into a homemade creamy sauce for vegetables, a great trick for women who don't love dairy. Now, quiet hair fall trigger number 4. Constantly eating heavily salted nuts and mistaking thirst for hunger. Heavily salted nuts can push some people toward more fluid imbalance and higher overall inflammation, especially if your diet is already high in sodium. And there's another subtle piece: salter snacks often lead to more snacking. More snacking can lead to more insulin spikes. More insulin spikes can lead to more inflammation. So the hair-friendly strategy is: choose unsalted or lightly salted nuts most of the time. Eat them intentionally, not mindlessly. Now, before we close, I want you to understand something important. Nuts help, but hair growth after 50 is rarely about a single food. It's about a system. So in the final section, I'll give you a simple routine, plus the top foundation checks that make these nuts work better. 7. Final topic, summary plus hair support routine plus call to action. Let's bring everything together clearly. The 4 nuts that can support healthier hair after 50. Brazil nuts: selenium for thyroid support and antioxidant protection. Walnuts: omega-3 plant fats, ALA, to support inflammation balance and scalp environment. Almonds: vitamin E for cellular protection and circulation support. Cashews: zinc plus copper to support tissue building and follicle function. The 4 quiet triggers that can increase hair shedding. Too many Brazil nuts: selenium overload can backfire on some people. Rancid nuts / overheated oils, oxidized fats can raise inflammation. Sugar-coated nut snacks, blood sugar spikes can stress follicles. Heavily salted nuts plus constant snacking, inflammation plus insulin swings. Now here's a simple, realistic routine you can actually follow. A simple hair support weekly plan, not extreme. Daily, choose 1 nut anchor. 1 Brazil nut or 1 to 2 tablespoons walnuts or 10 to 15 almonds or a small handful of cashews. Pair with protein once per day. Because hair is largely made of protein. If you undereat protein, especially at breakfast, hair can suffer over time. Examples: Greek yogurt plus walnuts. Eggs plus a few almonds. Lentils plus cashews sprinkled on top. A smoothie with yogurt plus berries plus almonds. Stabilize blood sugar. This is a big one for women over 50. Avoid turning healthy foods into sweets. Try not to snack all day. Make meals more complete with protein and fiber. Protect digestion, because minerals only help if you absorb them. Chew nuts well. Start with smaller portions if your stomach is sensitive. If nuts bloat you, rotate them and reduce the serving size. The foundation check, doctor style. If hair loss is significant, it's wise to consider thyroid health, iron status, ferritin, vitamin D levels, stress and sleep quality, rapid weight loss or crash dieting. I'm not diagnosing anything here, but if your shedding is sudden, patchy, or severe, or comes with fatigue and other symptoms, it's worth discussing with a qualified professional. Now I want to ask you something, because this helps me create the next video for you. Which nut will you start with first, Brazil nuts, walnuts, almonds, or cashews? Comment below, and tell me your age range, 50 to 55, 56 to 60, 61 to 70. And if you want more natural, practical videos for women over 50 about hair, sleep, blood sugar, and inflammation, then like this video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's quietly worried about thinning hair. Because when you support the body's foundations, the body often surprises you.